Hi, welcome to edsguitarlessons.com. We do something I really don't think I've ever done before, and that's just show some soloing techniques, okay? Everybody likes playing electric guitar. You start off with your rhythms. You got to be good at rhythm, you got to know chord changes, you got to know what's happening in a song. So having a copy of the song that tells you the chords will be very helpful in deciding what kind of solo, what kind of scale you're going to use. Okay, there's a lot of variables. Music is art. There's a lot of things you can do inside the box. There's a lot of things you can do outside the box that sound really cool. So there's no one correct way for everything, but we do have certain laws and rules that we've all applied to, and that's, blues has a certain kind of a sound. And then rock has another one. And so all kinds of styles of music, but within all those styles there's some certain fundamental truths that you got to apply to make soloing work. So I would say that the first thing that you got to know in playing rock, country, the blues, is you have to know the key. There's no way around it. If you're going to solo, you got to know what key the song's in. And if you might have seen the movie Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox, where he's going crazy with, he does the Johnny Be Good. And, goes nuts, and it's really funny and really comical. But if you remember at the beginning, he turns to the guys and says, it's in B, and he says, follow the changes. And of course, to the musician, that means something. When he says it's in B, he's telling them that's the key the song's in. So that would mean that they're going to be playing in that key. You can tell by when he starts playing, it's a Johnny Be Good. It's a rock kind of a sound, okay? I'll go with that. And so you're going to be playing rock riffs, rock style. You're not going to be playing Mary Poppins or Hokey Pokey. You got the... Okay? So you think in those terms, okay? You got to put into context what it is you're playing first. So if it's rock, you got to play kind of rockish. If it's blues, you got to play bluesy, If it's heavy metal, you got to turn up the amp all the way, tune your guitar down to drop Q, or at least that low. Drop C they do, drop D, detuning, all kinds of lower tunes so you get... So, so if I was to play Johnny Be Good with it, it just wouldn't sound right. So make sure you're kind of in you have to put what you're doing in context. You got to find the key to a song, okay? In the case of Johnny Be Good, it was in the key of B, so you would come down to the B note. I teach all my students simplicity first, and that is, you use first position, minor pentatonic. Everyone learns that scale. I mean, it's... First position, there's 5 positions. You learn the first, second, and fifth, and you're going to go real far. A million songs have been written in the first second, and fifth positions, okay, or portions of those scales, okay. Learn a pentatonic scale right off the bat. It's the easiest, it looks easy, it's very symmetrical, very feng shui-ish, very uniform, you know, step and a half, 3 whole steps in a row, and then 2 step and a half. Okay? Million things can be done with those notes, okay? There was an article out recently about, I think it was Ted Nugent or somebody like that, maybe it was Neil Young, was playing with Eddie Van Halen, and they asked him, you know, I mean, he gets on stage and sees Eddie Van Halen's 5150 stacked up all the way to the ceiling, you know, 10 million watts of power. So he's looking, and the guitar's there and the amps are there, and he wanted to play that so that he can sound like Eddie Van Halen. And whoever the gentleman was is irrelevant, but it was either Ted Nugent or Neil Young, I can't remember now. Plugged in the guitar, plugged it into Eddie's amps, and he started playing, and he sounded exactly like Neil Young. He sounded like himself. And what we're going to learn here is it's not, a lot of it's not just doing the scale. That's the scale, okay? That's where you play. That's the playground. That's the palette that we have of notes that we can use. It's how you play those notes. That's what made, besides his sound, besides his guitar and amp that he designed and everything, there was something unique about not only his stylistic, you know, tapping and things like that, and his whammy bar, which, you know, it was real obvious, but there was the way that he played notes too, the way that he played his scales, you know. So how you play notes is critical if you're going to be a soloist guitarist, okay? It's not just knowing where to play, but how you're going to do it. You know, you can have a palette, if we're going to use an analogy of painting to kind of, you know, represent or, you know, use as an example for music. Because music is painting with the ears, you know, you're painting where people can hear the artwork. And if you had a palette of several colors on there and they said, here, go paint the Sistine Chapel, you know, we'd all draw stick men and you know, a sunshine that looked like with a happy face smile in it, you know. But Michelangelo, he knew how to use those colors in a very precise and exacting and professional, superior way, okay? And that's what soloing is. It's more than just knowing the notes or having this, you know, everybody goes out and buys all this equipment, all these guitars, all these pedals, and when they get all the guitars and all the amps and the pedals and spend about $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 worth of their hard-earned money, and they come home and they sound like I'm being facetious. That's me. That's, you know, I for many years did not understand, you know, I said, how in the world do they get these sounds? And a lot of it is in these 2 fingers here. Besides the equipment, you got to have decent equipment, but you don't got to have $10,000 worth to sound good. I'm playing through probably, if you bought the pedal used, the guitar and the amp, maybe, you know, probably $600 worth of stuff. But I can do the same thing on a Squier. I can get a Squier behind me and play the same thing. I don't want to play a Squier, okay? I'm playing this guitar. But I'm just saying, a lot of times you just got to realize that it's how you play the note. Can you play the note like? Hear it drop off. There's no excitement to it. You give it a little vibrato. We're playing it, I'm doing in B right now, so a pentatonic thing. You should, get a pentatonic scale, first position. I mean, 2 notes from the pentatonic. Here's how, the entry level. Okay? But if you spend some time on what you're doing on each note, that's the pentatonic scale, okay? And all scales are that way. It's how you play them. If you're a speed freak and, gotta... I'm not, okay? I like to do it. I like to think I can do it. But I know I miss a lot of notes and things, but I have fun when I do it. It is fun to be able to kind of go crazy, You just turn it up and... Okay, which is nice. But, and this is not a speed lesson, okay? This is more finesse. This is more of... Here's the 4 notes of the pentatonic, okay? There's your A, and there's your B, and there's your D, and there's your E, okay? There's your home note of A. Sorry, B. I tell my students, just pick 4 notes and just go crazy with them. How many things can you do with those 4 notes? And do that with every note that's in your scale, okay? As you try to find the combinations between the notes, between string. That means you're going to have to strengthen your pinky, okay? I kind of cheated there. I added some 6th and 9th notes of the Dorian Scale, but they're fun, Okay, and I would get a Dorian Scale. Find one. You can find them online. I can post it on my website if you want one, but it's a good scale to practice with because it's going to strengthen and give you coordination on your 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th fingers, because you're going to play it like... So that's the 4th string, half step, whole step, same thing on the next string. Then you're going to shift, and you're going to go to the 7th fret, and then you're going to do a whole step, half step. Then you're going to use your 3rd finger or your ring finger and your pinky. Okay, so good exercises. Just do a lot of finger exercises where you can build up the agility in your fingers, okay? So think about what you're playing and how you're playing it. Know your hammer-ons, your pull-offs, your pinch harmonics, your trills, your vibratos, your bends, half step, whole step, step and a half bend. You know all these different techniques and tools that we have available to us, because it's within the scales usually. And please do not forget the modes, okay? And the Dorian is the second mode. But learn your major scale and your modes. Learn the 5 positions of the minor pentatonic scale and learn your modes. And that's going to buy you the entire neck and give you almost any style of music that you want to play. Because the song is going to be written either in a major key where you can use the major scale and the modes, or it's going to be a minor key and you can use the minor pentatonics in 5 positions. And there's all kinds of cool tricks where you can blend and mix and go from major to minor and minor to major and Dorian to Phrygian and Dorian to, minor pentatonic. And all that will start coming in time. But I think the importance of this lesson is learn how to play each note. We talked about this hand here. When I know that I'm going to do a vibrato and I really want that string to be vibrating and really ringing out and holding the note, I hit it a little bit harder. I choke up on the bat. I keep the pick real tight so I can really get some oomph in it. You don't want to use too thin of a pick because it deletes, it defeats the purpose. Because if it's flimsy, then you got a millisecond that you're losing in the flimsiness of the pick. Get something a little stout. These are called gnawing dogs, okay? And I don't remember they are 1.14 millimeters, okay? So they're a little bit on the thicker side. But you want a thicker type pick. And you only want a teeny bit showing, okay? More accuracy. Make sure you got your hand over here, your pinky that slides up and down. It's kind of keeping you steady, so you're not, trying to reposition yourself every time you're changing a string or you look away. It keeps you right in the work area, the workspace that we're working on. Let it slide up as you're going towards the lower notes, and let it slide down. I'm talking about your pinky as you're working the higher pitched strings, okay? So it's just some tidbits, okay? I mean, you can play the minor pentatonic scale like this. Or you can play it, maybe you don't want to hit that one sour note, but, or you can hear like, okay? So I hope that's helpful. I know this is long-winded, but you need to realize a lot of your sound comes from here and here, and how you attack, how you address the strings. That's where you get some really cool sounds, okay, that you're looking for. So I hope that's helped you a little bit. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you knew that. Okay, cool. I'm glad. But I hope it helped maybe some upcoming guitarists that's trying to figure out how in the world do they get something to sound like that. And they're looking here, they're looking here, they're looking here, they're thinking it's all over here, it's down here, and it's all right within a particular scale pattern, and it's how they played those scales. Hope this has helped you. God bless you. God bless America. And I pray that you enjoyed this little segment from edsguitarlessons.com. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.